Really, really hot for those of you over the United States. In the office here, 89.9 degrees Fahrenheit. No wonder it's sweaty in here. It was. So let me do this. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and I'm absolutely elated today, I really am. Got to welcome everybody along on Facebook Live right now. Having the hills earlier on, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I have the kicker right now. Anthony Ligouri is joining us, coming out of Memphis. Yes, Galaxy's resident Elvis is in the house, and he's brought a guest. He really, really has. So, if you haven't heard of Anthony Ligouri by now, and I don't know why you haven't, check this out. I can't watch the movie anymore right here at Galaxy. Gosh, it's hot in here. It really is. Guys, the Hammond brothers are going to be joining us, watching the show, so I suppose I better behave myself, right?
What? No.
I didn't think so. Believe me. Dale and Gail is such a laugh. I love those guys. I really, really do. And do you guys remember Darth Vader?
Yes.
Yeah, remember that lightsaber sword he's got?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is like Barbara and this thing. Literally. I have to move very quickly. She's very good at it, you know what I mean? And, well, it's a hard hat area, really, to be honest. It really is. Jerry, NSAI Hall of Fame songwriter, NACMAI Hall of Fame, former Sergeant of the US Marine Corps, former staff songwriter at the Universal Music Group. Wow.
Yeah. Bill Rice and I wrote for Universal. Actually, we were writing for Bill Hall and Jack Clement. He sold us to Lawrence Welk. Lawrence Welk sold us to Polygram, and Polygram sold us to Universal Music Group. So we've been all over the place, man. And I actually wrote some for Warner Brothers. So, we're just kind of hopscotching around over the career. I got to Nashville in 1967. I got here May the 12th, and in August, Charlie Pride got my first hit for me. Was The Day the World Stood Still. And when I say me, I'm being facetious because it was really Rice and me, because we wrote, like I said, 18 years together, and we weren't co-writers, we were writing partners. He was basically the guy that did the music, and I did the stories and the words. Pretty much.
That's really, really cool. And Anthony, you have no idea how happy I am to be able to make your acquaintance here. I'm so elated.
Well, the pleasure's mine, Grant. All mine.
Yeah. We have a minute, so we will go to the desk. All I can say is have fun. Give me shit if you want. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But in the meantime, let's have some fun. 74 countries this morning and 119 cities around the world are tuned in right now for this interview. It's going to be a great one.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 22 after 11 o'clock. I know I'm a little bit late, but good reasons, it really is. 25 degrees downtown, not bad right now. Anybody would think we're still in summer, to be very honest with you. It is Thursday, April 22nd, and today I'm absolutely elated, and I've got to thank you for joining us here at Facebook Live and at Galaxy again. Thank you for that. If you're going to watch it a little later on over in YouTube, you know what to do, right? You do. Of course, it is sub, thumb, bell. Bingo. Only, well, bell because of notifications, right? It is so that we can let you know when we have important people like we have today. Anthony Ligouri is joining us. Galaxy's resident Elvis, I've got to be honest with you, we've adopted him, we really have. And he's brought a guest, Hall of Famer as well. And believe me, let me tell you a little bit about Anthony. Singer-songwriter, country recording artist, Elvis tribute artist, and Christian recording artist as well. Anthony Ligouri Jr. I'm sorry, Anthony, it is an absolute pleasure, but I failed to be able to call you Junior.
Well, my dad was Anthony Ligouri Sr., and he didn't have a problem with it, and I wanted to keep just the name Anthony Ligouri, but I was coached by somebody to do that. And then once I put a website together and had the Junior, I had to leave it there. So that was about it.
Believe me, I get it, but believe me, much respect. I will call you Anthony Ligouri instead.
Yes, absolutely.
With respect to your whole family and your heritage. But believe me, I'm just not comfortable calling you Junior. I'm really not. But having said that, I got to give big props to you from the Hammond brothers as well. They said, be careful of Anthony. He's nuts.
That I'm nuts. Well, that's, the Hammond brothers I've known the Hammond brothers for probably close to 30 years now. And there's never a dull moment. I say that lovingly, but it's never a dull moment with the Hammond brothers, So I guess if you were following on Facebook over the last weekend or so, we did this video shoot. I don't know if you were going to talk about that, but The Lost and Lonely Highway, which was it's a series a pilot that they're filming, and they need to get a few series in before somebody major picks that up. And so we were filming this Lost and Lonely Highway where they had me as the ghost of Elvis, of course. And they wound up coaxing me to get into this old musky casket that was, it just smelled like must and mildew and everything, and I had to crawl inside there and kind of pop out. It just, it's that funny, the kind of things that these guys get me into, but yeah.
I love that. I really, really do. And yes, I do want to talk about the Ghost of Elvis. And believe me, I saw a picture of you. Well, it wasn't of you. It was actually of your silhouette.
Oh, yes.
And it was portraying, of course, the Ghost of Elvis. Really, you couldn't have got more spot on.
Yeah, that was a good picture. I know we were playing in the theater, Boundbrook Theater, and we had the idea that we were going to start this series, and so that was kind of a promo shot. So I went into like a hallway that went up like it was a stairwell, I should say, and the lighting was just right, so that light was on me and shot my shadow into that. So it was pretty neat. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and I got a story for you too about a casket. I'll let you know about that after this. I really, really will. So, Jerry, my friend, it is an absolute honour to meet you. And believe me, you've been in the game for a minute now, haven't you? You've been doing this once or twice.
A bunch of minutes, right? When I was very young, my dad taught me 3 chords on the guitar, and I haven't changed much. I still play those same 3 chords. But I ran into a guy named Bill Rice. We were doing shows together, and I was recording for Backbeat Records out of Houston, Texas. And my first record was playing on this radio station, and they were also playing Bill. Bill was on Dot. And I had Little Richard's band cut my first record with me. So Bill and I were doing shows together, and the disc jockey that was playing us both kind of introduced us. And Bill was getting ready to record again, and he asked me if I had any songs I'd like for him to listen to. And I said, yeah. So I played him a couple of tunes and sent me a tape. And when he came back from Memphis, we wound up, I don't know, a couple of months later, we worked in high school together. And I said, did you cut any of those songs, Bill? And he said, yeah, but Jerry, I got to tell you something. And I said, what? He said, you write great lyrics, but all your melodies sound alike. I said, sing me something you wrote. And he did. And I said, Bill, you write great music, but a 3rd grader could write better lyrics than that. So we finally decided to take each of us a strong point and marry them together and weld into one. And it became a very successful team. And thank God for Bill, because we went 18 years without ever having a crossword.
You know,
And we wrote, we had 200 chart singles. And then I guess counting album cuts and everything, we probably had over 400 cuts.
you,
So, and 70 award winners. So I guess that was a pretty good career.
you know, Jerry, history was made the day you two got together, literally. And it's still unfolding. You're still making history right now. And we kicked the show off literally with Anthony's I Can't Watch the Movie Anymore. Anthony, tell me about this. Give me the skinny on the lyrics of this. What's the meaning behind the movie, behind the song?
Well, this was a Jerry Foster song, and so we were looking for material. We were written the Memphis song, and Jerry said, I have something that Bobby Bear cut in a live album, and it really hadn't got too much light of day besides that. But he said, I think it's something different and just a great, great song. And at first he just told me the lyrics over the phone, and I was hooked from there, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Before I even heard the melody of the song. So then, you know, I looked up Bobby Bear's version and everything, and it was good. But I think we nailed it because we actually stayed truer to the lyric, of course, that was written, and that really made the song. Now, Jerry can tell you about that song because, I mean, let's say, you know, the idea of we've all seen, it's like you've been there before, and sometimes it's too painful to sing. But I think Jerry was so great where he married not only the fact that, you know, you're talking about the people in the song, the relationship, and you're likening it to a movie, but then he brings the part about like the popcorn box and the cup of soda, the empty cup, you know, the melted cup of soda, and it brings you in the theater at the same time as he's using those metaphors as a relationship. Is that correct? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just thought that nobody had done it before. It's really weird because a great songwriter, Shel Silverstein, was a great songwriter here. And he was writing a lot of stuff for Bobby. And we were producing Bobby at that time, Bobby Bear. And so Bobby decided he wanted to do a live album and include that song. And Shel told me, he said, Jerry, that's the best song you and Rice have ever written. And my answer to him was, okay, Shel, well, how come it hadn't sold a million then? so anyway, I love the song. Jimmy Rogers cut it, and the guy that had Honeycomb, all those big records, and I never heard his version at all. I would love to hear what he did to it. But Anthony did it exactly like it was written. He didn't change anything. He just did the song and he got into it really well. And I'm happy that the people like it because he did a good job with the song.
Well, I got to let you know, Jerry, and also Anthony, I got to let you know this. My breakfast show, or our breakfast show, is built literally, primarily around people requesting songs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yes.
Just lately, I've been finding it very, very hard to get through a breakfast show without playing at least one Anthony Ligouri song. Memphis, I got to be honest with you, is your #1 most requested. But I Can't Watch the Movie Anymore, 1,733 requests at this point.
Wow. That's great.
That's awesome.
That's,
I appreciate that, Grant, very much.
Yeah.
that's not
I think
bad.
that song needs what you're giving it is air. It just needs to be heard, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're honoured to be able to do this. We really, really are. Now, let me take you up a step, literally. And I want to talk about Cadillac. I really, really do. But at the moment, you're getting up over 2,100 requests for this. What's the secret behind Cadillac? Tell me all about it.
Cadillac?
Yes.
Cadillac, that was a song, it was kind of a rockabilly song that I wrote several years back, and I guess I was thinking Mystery Train a little bit, you know, the Elvis song Mystery Train, the old Mystery Train, that kind of a backbeat with a little more modern, and we threw the steel guitar and the fiddle in there to give it some extra sound. But I always liked old Cadillacs, you know, and that's really was the inspiration for the song. And it was kind of just a beat, that Mystery Train, you know, that driving beat. And so, you know, that's where that song kind of came from. I was just thinking Mystery Train, Elvis, but bringing it up to date. You know, Elvis did that at Sun, right? That was done at Sun, Mystery Train.
Yes.
That was way
The
back.
flip
Yeah.
side of I forgot to remember.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, right here at Galaxy, it is making inroads. It really, really is. People love Anthony Ligouri. This is Cadillac here at Galaxy. How you feeling, guys?
All right.
You don't need a stiff drink or anything just yet?
What's that?
You don't need a stiff drink or anything just yet?
They
No,
don't
but-
understand. They don't understand.
Moonshine, right? I know they have a brother talk about moonshine a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, Grant, that one of the thrills of my life was when I actually met Elvis, and we split a pair of cheeseburgers together. And of the people I've worked with and done things with, I put Scotty and DJ back together. Bill Black was already dead when my first record came out, but I put, I don't mean he was dead when it came out. He was dead before, I think, before Elvis got out of the Army.
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, I offered him a job because Elvis was in the Army. My record had just come out, and Bill Black said, "Well, Jerry, what you want to pay?" I said, "Same thing Elvis was paying you. I'll pay you $250 a week." He said, "Oh man," he said, "I'd like to do it, but Ricky Nelson offered us the same thing, and we just turned that down." So I said, "Well, that's the best I can do, pal." But Scotty and DJ actually traveled with me some, and the Jordanaires back in the early '60s, late '60s, I'm sorry. And
History.
Scotty produced an album for me, and oddly enough, there's only about 2 people left alive that's on that album. There's one Jordanaire left out of the original group, Ray Walker, the bass singer, is still here. But DJ's gone, Scotty's gone, Lightning Chance, who played bass, and he played on a lot of the Everly stuff. He's gone. You know, it's just Bill Rice played rhythm, so he's still with us. You know, but it's really weird when I hear that, and I think, wow, you know, I told you we're out 2 bodies. Anyway, what happened was we got a song that Elvis didn't do. But I told Scotty, I said, play that like you did in 1956 because I know that song. He said, okay. And the song was called Don't Let Go, and it went #1 in Europe. And because of that, I had a chance, and I put the Super Pickers together to play behind me. Buddy Harmon, the drummer, was actually played the tour with me. But anyway, we did 12,000-seat auditoriums. We did 6 shows in 9 countries, and 6 shows in 5 countries in 9 days. We did 2 in Germany, 1 in the Netherlands. But it was so much fun to do that. And the BBC jumped all over it, kind of like you're doing with Anthony's record, and that thing went all over Europe. And so I had #1 record over there since I got the tour. But it was a pleasure to get to work with Roy Orbison and Jerry Lee.
Jerry, I'm sorry, I've got to cut in here. We're just running out of time on the track.
Well,
Get your record off. That's the thing you gotta do.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 24 away from midday lunchtime. It is 23 degrees, sort of fluctuating, but I lost anyway. Believe me, Barbara won the weather competition this morning, which I knew she would anyway. It is Thursday, April the 22nd, and I've got to thank you for joining us today. Believe me, really, really happy. Sean Simpson is in the house. Nice to have you with us, Sean. And Cam Butler as well. Nice to have you as well. And a number of other people that are watching around the world and listening to us around the world today. Not only do I have the man himself, Anthony Ligouri, with me, but we also have Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame songwriter, and believe me, I'm just absolutely elated by this. Jerry Foster is joining us now. Guys, it is an absolute pleasure to have you guys with us. Now, I got to ask you this, because I have a fan question for you, Anthony.
Yes.
As a fan, how do we get hold of you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? But more importantly, Anthony, do you respond?
Yes, I am absolutely Anthony Ligouri Jr. on Facebook. On my website, www.anthonyliguorijr.com. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all those platforms. I haven't put out TikTok videos, and as well as you can find me on YouTube. And the music can be purchased through Apple, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all the major platforms. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Now, at the same time, do you have a merch store on your website?
Do you have any?
A merch store on your website. Can people go and buy a T-shirt?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can download right from the website. Yes, you can do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stunning. Now, I'm just wondering. I mean, I've been looking at this absolutely stunning piece of jewelry you've got on your wrist there. Tell me the story behind that, because believe me, that has to come with a story in its own right.
Well, yeah, that absolutely does. There's always a story behind something. I love Native American jewelry, and you can see the rings and the whole deal. And this was purchased for me as a Father's Day gift from my fiance, Anita, who is a very great person. And she knows that I love this type of stuff, and so she purchased this for me last year for Father's Day, and I wear it all the time. It's a beautiful gift. And I want to show you. I'll show you two other things just talking about it. This was my dad's piece. This is a Navajo piece. That was my dad's, and after he passed, I wear that every day. And this piece here is a cross that was made by Elvis's ranch hand out in Tennessee back in the day. He made two of these crosses. One was for Priscilla, one was for Elvis. And after Elvis passed away, they put them up. Priscilla had put some stuff up for auction at the early stages. And a friend of mine had purchased this in the early 80s from the estate. And one day at one of my shows, I'm an ordained minister, so I was going to be ordained the next week. And he thought that there was nobody else in the world that should have this piece of, Elvis memorabilia but me. So he gifted this to me in 2011. So it's actually a piece of the Elvis estate, whether it was Elvis's or Priscilla's, I don't know, but I've seen a photograph of Priscilla wearing the other one, but I don't know if that's Elvis's that she has or I have hers, but it's another treasured thing that I keep with me all the time.
That's absolutely fantastic. It really, really is. The closest I've ever been to Elvis, I've got to be honest with you, is I've done the tour at Graceland. Right? I've been there, I've done that. I stayed in a place called Olive Grove for a while, out that way in Memphis, and we got a chance to go and have a look at the holy grail of music, really. It really, really is. So I enjoyed that, but unfortunately, I'm not a kind of rope-off kind of guy, if you know what I mean. I like getting over the rope and having a good look at stuff, picking it up, feeling it, smelling it, touching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of tend to frown on that sort of stuff, apparently. But such a lucky man, you really, really are. Now, having said that, love the jewelry. It suits. It absolutely suits you. It really, really does. Now, somebody told me that you came from Long Island.
Did I come from where?
Long Island.
Long Island?
Yeah, was it Long Island that you came from?
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
New Jersey, which is close to Long Island, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It's only a cab ride away, isn't it?
Yeah. But where I lived for many years in New Jersey, I lived in a town called Hackensack. Billy Joel, who needs a house out in Hackensack? Well, that's where I lived. But you could actually see the Manhattan skyline from my window. So I was that close to. I was 7 miles out of Manhattan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 7 miles.
Absolutely fantastic. In fact, I've got a friend of mine who's a singer in New Jersey. Literally, she's also, you're an ordained minister. She's actually a therapist, if you know what I mean. So, we might be able to get you guys together. You get them married, and then afterwards you go and send them off to her. You know what I mean? might be a good business deal. And I said to her one day, I said, "What, you come from New Jersey?" She goes, "Gee, Grant, you could be a hack driver here."
You know, it was funny when I first started out country music. I'm going eons years ago, 25 years ago. Things were still different. You know, they didn't have. I wasn't able to record under my real name at that point, and they thought everybody from New Jersey was an Italian gangster. They had bodies in their trunk, you know, that kind of thing. And they're probably right, you know, like my dad and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was actually going to say, isn't that the way it was?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll tell you a funny story since we're talking about this type of things. I think it's interesting anyway. My grandfather, his first cousin, was Joe Gallo, the one that was shot in Umberto's clan house in Manhattan. My grandfather, he was Ligouri, but his mother's maiden name was Gallo. So my grandfather's uncle, which would be his mother's brother, was the father of Joe Gallo, who was shot in Umberto's clan house, the gangster. But he was kind of an odd guy. He was like more into jazz, and he was a high profile guy, which probably caused him his demise. But you remember Jerry Orbach? He was the father in Dirty Dancing. That was his best man at his wedding. They were best buddies. Yeah.
Wow. Small world. Small world. It really, really is. And I love stories like this. I really, really do. Believe me, I'm going to get into Jerry Foster very, very shortly. He's going to tell me all the naughty stuff he used to do on the road very, very shortly. He really is. But right now, we've got to move on and go to the number one most requested song by Anthony Ligouri. And believe me, Anthony, this is going ballistic. It's going through the roof. 4,017 requests at this point and climbing. Tell me about midnight in Memphis, Elvis Central Time. And I want to give a plug to the Hammond brothers who not only, and Gail's joined us right now, not only produced it, but had a little something more to do with it. Tell me all about this song. Why is it so successful?
Yeah, we were talking a little about that before. You know, the song came about. I was thinking about a car that was, again, a Cadillac car that was bought in a junkyard and coming to life. And, you know, we just developed the song into something, but it needed more, you know. And I've been toying around with the idea. So I went to Jerry and I said, Jerry, you know, he could tell you the story about Cheeseburger with Elvis in his book. The last paragraph in that story, when Elvis drives away, he could tell you about that. It just seemed to be the right way to end the song, or put it together, I should say. So we put the song together, and I think as soon as we put the lyric together, we knew we had a winner right there, and with the rockabilly feel. And yeah, the Hammond brothers produced the session. They sang background. Now, as you know, Dale and Gail were fostered by Ray Walker, foster dad, from the Jordanaires, and they worked as the Jordanaires when the Jordanaires didn't want to leave town with Ray, and they had a younger brother, Johnny, at the time. So they were a quartet, and so they got that, you know, that real authentic sound, and so that's how the song pretty much came about. But I'd like Jerry to tell you the story a little bit about that cheeseburger that ties the whole thing together, if we could. Yeah.
Yeah, I was working. I had a group, and I was still in the Marine Corps. And I told you I was playing the biggest club in Savannah. Well, because of the television show, which in the 50s was a big deal, the mayor got me in to see Elvis. He came to do the sports arena in Savannah, and I'd been accused of imitating him. I'd never seen him. I said, how can I be imitating somebody I never saw? We were doing a lot of his songs because people were asking for them, you know, and a lot of people were doing the jitterbug, dancing, all that kind of stuff. So I got in to see Elvis, and I stood about 25th of the stage and watched him do 2 shows. And after we got off, I picked up my guitar player and my drummer to go back to Paris Island, back to the base. My drummer cut Rock Around the Clock with Bill Haley. And instead of going in the restaurant with the guitar player and I, he stayed in the car. And so he was asleep in the back seat. So about that time, there wasn't anybody in there but me and the guitar player, and a cook and a waitress. And she was the waitress, the cashier, everything else. She came over, and I don't know what we ordered. I ordered 2 cheeseburgers, ordered fries, and a Pepsi. She said, okay. So she goes and turns the order in. And about that time, Elvis walked in with his 2 cousins. And I said, Elvis, I saw your show tonight. I literally saw it. I didn't hear a word you said. Those little girls were screaming so loud. And he started laughing. And he said, Yeah, well, he said the show's always in the audience, and so I started talking to him about some little things, and his two cousins had gone and got a seat. So I said, would you like to sit down? So he came over and sat down beside me, and the older lady came over and she said, what do you want? He said, 2 cheeseburgers, order fries. He didn't know what I'd ordered. Within 5 minutes, here she comes with 2 cheeseburgers, order fries. And she said, who gets this? And both of us at the same time said, I do. And I said, Elvis, that's my order, and I'll split it with you, but when yours get here, I want mine back because I'm starving to death too. He said, the deal's the deal, man. And that's what it was. But at the end of the evening, his next date was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he asked me if I knew the way to get to Charlotte, the directions. Those days there weren't any interstates. It was all, 2-lane, basically blacktop roads. And so I told him, yeah. And I gave him directions. And I said, better yet, Elvis, I'm leaving now too. So why don't you just follow me? And I'll turn my blinker on about 10 miles up the road where you turn off. And he said, okay. And so I got him to say hello to my drummer. I woke up, Chuck up, and he said hi to him. And he went right back to sleep. He didn't remember meeting Elvis the next morning. Anyway, I guess Elvis was in a hurry. I was doing about 70 miles an hour. He went around me, I don't know, up the road a little ways, like I was parked. I mean, he was flying. Man, he'd be doing 100 miles an hour, and he was driving himself. He was driving a brand new Eldorado convertible. At that time, it was white. Later, he painted purple. But anyway, when he went around me, before he went around, he blinked his lights. Then he came around me and blinked his lights twice, like, see you later, bye-bye. And so the last time I saw Elvis, it looked like 2 cigarettes in the dark walking away. The lights just kept getting smaller and smaller. And I'm telling you, man, he had to be doing 100, maybe more, when he went around me. So that's what we picked up on out of the book. And I did the story of the book, and Anthony decided that might make a good ending for Midnight in Memphis. So that's constructed it to work into the song. That's what we did. But the tail lights were real. I mean, that's the way it was.
Well, gentlemen, let me tell you now, and I'm very, very proud to say this, we can't stop playing this. The audio audience, they're our fans. We don't call them fans. Our audio audience just keep requesting it. Right here at Galaxy is Anthony Ligouri. He's joining us live with Midnight in Memphis, Elvis, Central Time. How you feeling, guys? You okay?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's awesome. That the song is doing that well, I'm happy.
Well, believe me, my friend, I am honoured to be able to give you that news. I really, really am. There's only one question I'm going to ask you next is, of course, this COVID virus thing, it's a rather surreal time right now. Are you recording at the moment? Are you writing new stuff?
Right now, we're not doing it. We aren't doing anything right now. I've had a backlog of some material, and I recorded a few of Jerry's songs, which were I Can't Watch the Movie, and so, I don't know if you heard Sunrise in Memphis. That's the song of Sun Studio, the birth of Sun Studio in Memphis, and another rockabilly song, great song. And we're just thinking about things, and the COVID has just kind of brought everything down for a little bit. So we're just sitting on top of that and hoping things will break soon, so we can get out working again. That's basically where we're at. For a while, even the musicians wouldn't even show up in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
and with the mask and everything, it was very difficult. So
believe me, Anthony, I've been an engineer in both studio and front of house for almost 40 years. Barbara has an entertainment company. She brings bands and entertainment into the country. For 12 months, just over 12 months now, we've been chomping at the bit to get back to work. We really have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just wondering, Anthony, would you consider coming to New Zealand and playing in front of New Zealand audiences if you had the opportunity?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to come. And after I saw Barbara's goats and chickens and everything, that was really. I was shocked. I didn't know. I don't know all that much about New Zealand, but it's beautiful, right? Yeah. And when she panned like a little bit around, around where the animals were, there was whatever that panoramic view in the distance was just absolutely awesome, And and the way the people are taking to music, I would love to come out to New Zealand. Yeah, that would be
I've
great.
actually done a concert at her place. Oh,
Yeah.
full blown. We've set up speakers, lighting, you name it, got bands in. Where that panoramic view was actually full of people. It really was. Barbara says, you know, I feel like having a party. I went, you're talking to the right guy.
I'll send him a clip. I've got a
Yeah,
couple of
Barbara
them
said she'll send you a clip. Believe me, it was a lot of fun too.
around the pool.
The reason why I say that, believe me, is we would love to have the Hammond brothers here in New Zealand, Roger Adams as well, and we would love you to join it. Make it a full-blown party, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Which basically means, and I got to let you know this, Jerry, if you're going to come with our good friend Anthony here, all I can say is bail money.
I'm still performing. Yeah, so I'm still doing that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know when to quit.
Well, that makes all of us. Believe me.
I'm sure my
Oh,
father.
Terry Van Cannon's on board.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And, of course, Brian Smith. Smitty and the Jump Starters.
Yeah.
We did an interview with Smitty just the other day, and believe me, what a great interview that is.
Oh,
Where did you go?
I don't know. Somebody, I'm afraid to hang this up because of, I don't want to lose you guys, but
Hit the camera button.
Again.
hit the camera button.
Yeah.
There's a little
Okay, let me see if
camera
I can
icon
find
there.
We lost them. They're coming back, guys.
Yeah, I don't want to. I think it's going to go into. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. I think we're coming back. We're going to hit the camera.
There you go.
Yeah,
Look at
we're
that.
back again.
And you're in perfect
Yeah,
time.
I was hoping people were not going to call me.
Oh, you look that funny, right? Good man, that's it.
Oh, that's what I do.
That's right. You're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and luckily, good timing, you're right on back in there again. Got to say hi to Brian Smith from Smitty and the Jump Starters. Had a great interview with you the other day. Absolutely fantastic, and I know you've been chomping at the bit to see this interview, so thank you for joining us. Also, Terry Van Cannon is on board as well. Nice to have you on board, my bro. Steel guitarist, expert, absolutely extraordinaire. He really is. We love Terry Van Cannon, we really do. Now we've got to say hi to a very, very close friend of ours that's a new friend, and we want to welcome both of these gentlemen to the family, as of course Jerry Foster and Anthony Ligouri. Now guys, I don't know how to say this, but thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Galaxy family. Now, at the same time, I was just, while we were talking off air, just inquiring if you would be interested in coming to New Zealand to play in front of New Zealand audiences. And believe me, we're a little crazy down here. I hope you're ready for that.
We like crazy.
Yeah. We'll feel at home that way.
Nice. Well, believe me, if you know anything about me, you'll realise that I, usually challenge our international artists to a number of things while you're here. It's not all work, but it's not all fun either. Believe me, there's a bit of grantism in there as well. Now, you said you didn't know much about New Zealand. Let me fill you in. This is really cool. It really is. New Zealand is made up of 3 islands. Right down the very bottom of New Zealand is a tiny little island called Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the only island in New Zealand that actually got a name.
Okay.
Because literally whoever named these islands, after that, ran out of imagination, called the next one South. Yay. Yay. And of course, where we are right here, we're actually in the North Island.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, imagination, they didn't have any, even the Maoris called this place the land of the long white cloud, which is Aotearoa. At least that's something, you know what I mean, rather than South and North. Yay. Great. You should try being brought up in the South Island. They said, where's that? It's kind of south of this and west of that and east of this, and we're here, you know what I mean? But we are the first country in the world to see the light of day, the time as well. And of course, we are your future right now. So I got to thank you for taking time out of your evening to come and visit us here in New Zealand. It's an absolute pleasure to have you in the Antipodes, and we would love you to come and play. We would. Now, Jerry, do you think Anthony's up to keeping up with you?
I got to keep up with Jerry.
Yeah, I think so.
I got to keep up with Jerry.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Now, having said that, and I'm going to just inquire because the on-air producer, I actually have a voice in my head that's talking to me all the time while I'm doing this. She says to me, ask him about the hoo-hoo. Now, have you ever heard of a hoo-hoo grub?
Hey, what?
A hoo-hoo grub, spelt H-U-H-U.
No.
Okay, you're familiar with a caterpillar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like a, it's like a caterpillar on steroids, really. It's like a big double-decker bus to a mini. It's big, it's white. I recommend alcohol here, I do, because the indigenous folks of New Zealand, called the Maori, actually have these as a delicacy. They really do. And what you do, I don't know, are you familiar with the white worm at the bottom of the bottle of tequila?
Yes.
Yeah, have you ever had the worm? You ever tried it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're in with a grin right away, because what you do is you put the live body, and I recommend alcohol, in your mouth, rip off the head, don't eat the head, it's yucky, but when you crunch down on the body, it's like eating creamy peanut butter.
Oh, really?
The head screams.
I'll make sure Barbara sends you the instructional videos, so you know I'm not pulling your leg, right? But believe me, I've had many over the years. I really, really have. Got to a point where I was actually enjoying them.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, sort of. I was saying to the wife, "What, real peanut butter? Where's the bugs?"
I have no trouble with the worm. I don't know about the head.
Yeah, well, you don't eat the head. Don't worry about that. You know, you're gone. But down the west coast of the South Island is a little place called Hokitika. Down there they have a wild foods festival. Now, you're familiar with festivals, you know, kids wandering around, hot dogs, candy floss, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, not there, really. You might see kids wandering around with deep fried locusts on a stick or something like that. You know what I mean? It's wild food. It really is. And the hoo-hoo is quite prominent in it. It really, really is. Have you ever heard of Queenstown?
No.
Okay, and I don't mean Queensland, which is in Australia. That's the place where men wander around in high heels and dresses and stuff like that, apparently. No, Queenstown is a little boutique kind of town where all the A-listers from around the world, when they get fed up with the paparazzis and everything like that, they go and hide in Queenstown, literally. And Shania Twain owns property down there. Before the COVID virus hit, Kevin Costner was down there, Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, the whole enchilada go there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And believe me, Anthony, you never know who you might run into, but you don't want to run into me.
That's all we need to know. We only need to know Greg and Barbara. That's all.
Yeah, stay away from those guys. They will throw you off a bridge.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, and believe me, you're going to love this. I have a friend down there that introduced the sport of bungee jumping to New Zealand. He's a very close friend of mine. And, I see that, Jerry. That's why I was talking to Anthony.
Good.
Don't worry,
Push him off the bridge.
don't worry, I've got something sorted for you to come here. Don't you worry about that. Believe me, and that might include a mankini. He's going, what the hell is... Yeah, what the hell is a mankini? You can just see, what the hell is a mankini? I'll tell you about that later on. But don't worry, Anthony, you're not Australian. We'll attach the bungee.
Oh, you just... Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, you know... us Kiwis and Australians, we have this love-hate relationship. It's like the Americans and Canadians in ice hockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of
They're
those.
better than we are.
Yeah, well, you know, here in New Zealand, our national sport is actually rugby union. That's like gridiron without the pads and helmet. Playing real. And no forward passing, by the way. None of that goes on here, believe me. But we have former world champions, the All Blacks. Australia has the Wallabies, sorry.
Okay.
No, I got it right the first time, actually. 30 years without anything in their cabinet. Definitely the wannabes by now. But at the same time, yeah, we do love our Australian friends. So when you do come here to New Zealand, maybe 4 shows here in New Zealand, maybe about 8 shows in Australia. What do you reckon?
So
Yeah, it makes
some of the shows.
it makes it worthwhile that way, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides, we love their money.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, believe me, Jerry, these guys don't know how to spell beer. They have a can with 4 X's on it.
Those sexies.
Those seconds.
Yeah, if you scrape one off, you might get hit by a hooker.
I fell in love with the whiskey here in Tennessee. That's just so mild and so good, and it's made right outside of Nashville. It's distilled there, and it's called Sweet Lucy. But it'll hit you so fast. You think you're drinking iced tea, and the first thing you know, you can't find the door. I mean, that's the way it works.
You know something, Jerry? I went to go and see the Tennessee whiskey distilling branch down there, the good old number 7, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
And I was allowed to buy some purchase. You know, I was allowed to purchase some alcohol and everything under the strict warning, do not open it. I go, what? Yeah, I'm just, what do you mean I can't drink it? Oh no, this is a dry state. You've got to go out of the state to open the bottle. What the hell? And it happens to be one of my most favourite drops. I mean, you got to go there. But I'm always told, you know, when you buy some of this, you've really got to go to the distillery at some stage in your world travel. So I did, and they went, no, don't open it.
But see, I'm kind of lucky. Anthony doesn't drink, so I get to do his part. So,
Oh, there you go.
I like battling around with him because when he said no, I said, well, I'll take his.
Besides, that way you've always got to drive it, right?
That's exactly right.
He's a good driver.
Yeah, exactly.
When I did that, when we did the Lost and Lonely Highway series with the Hammer, where I played the Ghost of Elvis, the guy, if you see some of those still pictures with the beard and the hat and everything, his name is Russ. He is a moonshiner. You know, it's no put on there. And all that stuff in the background is just set. But he makes some stuff. It's about, I don't know, I think he said about 120 proof or so. That's some serious moonshine. But he's the real deal.
I had some of that not so long ago, actually. A young lady, a 10-time Josie Award winner, sent me some in a hip flask. Here's the hip flask, literally.
Oh, okay.
Right? She sent me some of that from the Appalachians, straight out of the bush, literally. I got tore up from the floor up. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There is a bit of a story behind it. It really is, and I haven't got time to tell you right now, but believe me, wow, that really did hit the spot, if you want to put it like that. Now, I've got a question for you from a fan, and she wanted to know, Anthony, do you ever, when you're out in public, for instance, maybe at the gas station, something like that, ever have people come up to you and say, you look like Elvis?
Just all the time. You know, and it's funny because it's okay. I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to people just calling me Elvis. They don't even, you know. The funny thing is like, you know, I of course, I'm a huge Elvis fan. I love doing the Elvis show. And the reason I kept the sideburns is because the Hammond Brothers and I had, before COVID hit, we had a show in a theater in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I was doing my own stuff and then coming out as finale doing an Elvis act, so I had to keep the sideburns and all that. But, you know, I've been a recording artist in my own right, you know, my own music for just as many years, whether it was, a country or a country gospel, recorded with Calvary Records out here in Nashville, and had some success with gospel hits and stuff. But if you hear my stuff that doesn't liken to Elvis, in other words, rockabilly, a lot of people would compare me more to B.J. Thomas, actually, because he was another big influence. So I guess they're two great people that to kind of mold your career or blend your career and put your own thing into it, And I think B.J. Thomas was an awesome artist himself, and he would, Elvis would hire B.J. Thomas to play his New Year's Eve parties because he loved the way he sang, and he did, yeah.
Yeah, believe me.
So I guess I kind of, yeah.
I get that. I really, really do. And, Tina, I'm glad I could ask that question for you. Now, at the same time, let me tell you about this. One day here in town, we're in a little town, literally a little town, I think maybe about 5,000 people in it, not that many. We're in between three major cities, and it's a little forestry milling town. We have our own mill here, and we make pulp paper and all sorts of stuff. But I was coming out of what you would call a convenience store, a four square, basically, corner shop.
Uh-huh.
And I was literally, at the time, I was actually unwrapping a packet of cigarettes. I was looking down doing it, and I walked smack bang into this man's chest. Literally, which is, I'm 6'2", that's hard to do, but I just walked into this guy, and I looked up, and I looked at this guy and I went, you look like Robert Plant. He goes, I get that a lot. And I went, really? He goes, that's because I am.
Well, there you go.
And seriously, that was the last person you'd ever expect to be trucking around here in the North Shore of New Zealand. It really was, so that was a fantastic time. Guys, I'm going to have to wrap this up. Unfortunately, we've got other staff that are wanting to move on with their shows, but I got to thank you so much for joining us. Will you come back again?
Oh, absolutely. Only if I can have Jerry with me again.
You better bring him. You better bring him. Believe me. And Jerry, such an honour to meet you, sir.
It's my pleasure, Trent, and it's really nice now to say I've got a friend in New Zealand. That's super.
Yeah.
Well, you've got more than one, believe me. There's about 15 in the staff here, all crowding around, watching this interview right now, all loving it. So much respect from all of us here at Galaxy. Don't go anywhere just yet, Anthony. Believe me, we do a couple of crazy things after this. You'll love it, you will. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a little shout. You're right here at Galaxy.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Okay. All right, Barbara, this is just for you. This is a song that Elvis did back in, I think it was around 57. I know you wanted to hear an Elvis song.
I do.
And it's called Love Me.
Oh.
Treat me like a fool. Treat me mean and cruel. Oh, but love me. Break my faithful heart. Tear it all apart. How you ever love me? Won't you love me? Well, if you ever go, darling, I'll be home. Oh, so lonely. I'll be sad and blue, crying over you, digging a hole. I would beg and steal, yeah, just to feel your heart, a beating close to mine. Well, if you ever go, darling, I'll be home. Oh, so begging on my knees. All I ask is please, please love me. Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's out there somewhere every night where the music's playing loud, doing all those old time steps in a modern dancing crowd. The dim lights hide the mileage line, and there one hides the grave, and he don't mention anything that gives his age away. He's 39 and holding everything he can. From 17 to 25, the groove is still a man. He's holding to a candle and it's burning at both ends. He's 39 and holding everything he can. Now you can bet he'll never see 39 again. Should have given up long ago, but he's still hanging in. He still thinks he's the man that he used to be. He's 39 and holding and acting 23. He's 39 and holding everything he can. From 17 to 25, the groove is still a man. He's holding to a candle and it's burning at both ends. He's 39 and holding everything he can. And a good one's twice.
Brilliant.